Okay, I just finished season 3 of Alice in Borderland, so I want to make a couple videos on each season because I think this show is amazing and other people should watch it too. And I just want to record my thoughts on it, and maybe someone will find it and find it interesting. Um, so three things I want to talk about: characters, the story, and the games. Okay, so the characters. I'm not going to touch on all of them, just the ones I find important or interesting. Um, so Arisu, the main character, uh, he starts as a bum that doesn't really leave his house. He's unemployed in his early 20s, possibly, and um, just plays video games all the time. And from he goes from that to the end of the series where he, really finds purpose and finds out that life is worth fighting for and living. And a big catalyst for that is when his friends die in one of the games, and uh, he does go through a pretty depressive state for a little bit there, and then he figures out, well, they died so that I could live, so it would be useless if I didn't fight to live. So the development of Arisu through the season, from just kind of being a bum to realizing his potential and like his intelligence and his leadership capabilities, is pretty good overall. I enjoyed Risu as a main character. I think a lot of the times, for some reason, I'm like put off by the you know stereotypical can do no wrong type of main character. But he he was a pretty good job. He was flawed in certain ways, and he really worked on those flaws throughout the season. So I like Arisu as a main character. Usagi, she's a great compliment to his, uh, you know, to him. He she is when gets to the Borderlands, she's kind of dealing with her father's game ending of himself, I guess I can say. And she also is kind of searching for a purpose to continue to live, and is kind of inspired by Arisu's mentality and will and caring for others. And I think the two just work well together, and the development of their relationship from a friendship to something more romantic is done pretty well. You're kind of left up in the air at the end of the first season, like, oh, like, do they, are they gonna get together? Like, what's is there something going on here more than just a friendship? Um, and so, as someone who's a friend, potential love interest after the first season, I think she is also a pretty strong character. Then I'll move on to Tashia. He's my favorite character, but he came as my favorite character after season two. Season one, he's still pretty cool. Like, he just kind of aura farms the whole season. He doesn't really say much. He, like, the first game he's in, he's just sitting up at the top of the corner watching everything happen. Then jumps in at the end of the game with his self-made taser. That moment was really cool. And then it also shows his intelligence when he um, deceives like the entirety of the beach, including Arisu, and makes off with all the cards. And then he uses his intellect to fight Naragi, who is probably stronger than him physically, but basically leaves him to die. Um, so Chishio, pretty cool, like, I guess mysterious anime character type of vibe there. Um, and who else? Kuina, she gets some cool moments here too. Again, I think she's fleshed out better in season two though. But she's pretty badass, very strong, martial artist, and that fight she has at the end, with the dude with the tattoos is crazy. So that's pretty sick. And then Aguni, he's probably the last one I'll talk about. Aguni, just the typical big brute. You kind of don't think much of him, uh, but you could tell toward the end, like, uh, he will do anything to continue to survive. Like that last game where he just starts mowing people down is pretty crazy. So it kind of shows maybe he acts before he thinks. He's not that much of a strategist. So overall, I guess I'll talk about Naragi too. Naragi's just a complete psychopath. That guy is crazy. Again, gets fleshed out more in season two. I feel like a lot of the characters were just being introduced this season and weren't fully developed. I think most of the development went to Arisu and Usagi. But that's fine. It was clear that after the last episode of the season, they planned on making this more than just one season. So yeah, pretty good character development. The plot, the story, also it it was good. Like it's the beginning of a new series to anyone watching, and it sets up the world pretty well, where they just get transported into this world, and you're also learning things along with the characters about the world. Like, okay, we gotta continue to play or we die. We can't just like wait it out. Uh, these games will kill us if we don't play them properly. So we gotta pick and choose our battles, right? Like each card represents a different uh, type of game. So maybe we should play into our strengths, like stuff like that. Um, and then just progressing through the world, just trying to hopefully continue to survive, and hopefully the games will just end. Um, and that story seems pretty basic on the surface level, but I think it worked well. Um, and it was fine. It was fine. I had no gripes with it really. I can't really think of anything to complain about. It was good. And then lastly, the games. This is what everyone probably talks about or wants to see someone talk about when they watch a video. So I'm just gonna go through each game uh, from the start to the end, and maybe I'll just rate each game or something. I don't know. The first game, pretty good introduction. The one where they have to go through the right door or they burn. Um, and it was pretty simple, but it did the right job. Like it showed that even though Arisu's a bum, he's pretty intelligent. He has some leadership abilities. Because his intelligence is shown, he memorized like the dimensions of the building and the dimensions of the car, and that's how he figured out what door to go through and all that. So it was all right. I'd say it was like a 5 out of 10. It was average. Then the game after that was the hide and seek game, where all those other main characters get introduced. So I think that was pretty good, just fleshing out the cast, um, as well as revealing that the enemies were actually other players, and it's like, oh, whoa, like what's going on here? Um, and yeah, kind of just show you a little bit about the characters at first, introducing them and kind of showing how different their personalities were and their capabilities. So that one was alright. I would say it's like a 7 out of 10. It was good. Um, then the game after that was insane. The wolf game, where Arisu lives and his friends die, and they sacrifice themselves for him. And man, that episode was like super emotional at the end. How they just all are like fighting with each other. Arisu's hiding, just being kind of cowardly, and then his friends realize, you know what, like if anyone has the best chance to survive, it's Arisu. So we're gonna let him live here. And they hide from him. He looks, tries to sacrifice himself for one of his friends, and then he can't find them, and that's the end for them. And that was like super super sad episode, and I think it was really well done. The music, just the music in the show in general, really good in this episode. It was awesome. And so I'd give that one like an 8.5 out of 10. That game was the game itself was all right, but like the impact it had on the story, on the viewer, and on Arisu, it changed the trajectory of the show. Like after that, I was like, oh, no one's safe. Like these are his best friends, and they died that early on. Um, so I thought that was very well done. Then after that, I believe was the game where they had to. It was the distance game in the bus, and they have to stay at the goal, and they run all the way down, whatever it was, like 10 kilometers, find out that, and then Arisu takes the the motorcycle or whatever, comes back for the guy with the messed up leg, and they find out the goal was the bus the whole time. Like, all right, that one was all right. I think that was probably the worst game, but it did show you that sometimes the games can be deceiving and not what they seem. So I don't know. Um, I think that might have been the weakest game in the season. So I'd give it like a 4 out of 10. It's got to be worse than the first one. Um, but yeah, that was okay. And then next game I think was, well, they do like compilations of some of the games I think once they reach the beach. But Arisu has to do the riddle that I had seen it before, like when I was in high school or something, where you flip a light switch and you can open only one door, and um so you got to find out which bulb the light switch turns on. And yeah, that's a good game. I think it was good, especially for the purpose it serves. Like, you saw that Anne knew the answer the whole time. Like, she had already known this riddle before, and she was just testing Arisu and had complete faith that he would be able to solve it, because otherwise they would die. Like, she doesn't want to die, obviously. So she just let him figure it out. Otherwise, last second, she would have had to say which one it was. So that was her way of testing him, and I think that was pretty good. I'd give that one like a 7 out of 10. Um, Nothing crazy, but it served its purpose. And then the last game was the witch hunt game, where everything goes up because they gotta find someone, kill them, throw them in the bonfire. Um, and so everyone starts turning on each other. The military guys of the beach just start mowing everybody down. Like, that game was pretty crazy. I'd give that one probably a 9 out of 10. It was pretty good on showing you that, like, when push comes to shove, people are gonna go like crazy. They're not gonna find a logical way, or like, uh inter the beach executives aren't gonna like interview each person or whatever. Like, it went into full chaos. That's when you get a lot of cool fights. So, like, yeah, a Goonie just starts mowing people down. um Kuina has that crazy fight with the dude the dude with all the tattoos and the swords, and she's like fighting him like barehanded. That's just crazy. Chishia does that makeshift flamethrower, and like, you think he kills Naragi, but obviously season 2, we'll get to that. um and then, yeah, it was a good like climax end to the season. And then, okay, we got all the cards, and oh, is it over? No. Now we gotta do all the face cards. And that was a great way to end the season, set up for season 2. Didn't leave you on a crazy cliffhanger or anything. Like, it didn't leave me like, oh man, I really need season 2 like right now. But it left me like, oh, I can't wait for season 2. Like, once it does come out. Um, so yeah, those were my overall thoughts. Um, yeah, the whole show. If I were to give the season 1 a rating, I'd say it was a 9 out of 10. It was like really high. After I watched this, had to recommend it to so many people, and some of them took me up on it. Some of them were like, I don't know. Maybe because it was in Japanese or whatever. But yeah, I would like highly recommend it. 9 out of 10 for sure. But that's all I got. So thanks for watching.